Guys, whether you like me or you hate me, I promise you the next couple minutes will be worth your time. I kind of fumbled the ball a little bit the past few days with this ongoing saga that went from the Fred method to the timed pity. A bunch of titles I gave it, mistitling it because I was ignorant and I didn't have the full story. Do I have the full story now? I am confident I have the vast majority of it. This ain't tinfoil hat stuff, guys. We have gone through hundreds of accounts. We've gone through thousands of screenshots of people summoning records. All that data is available publicly on my Discord in the Pity Timer Research channel. Go check it out if you want to be skeptical. I would not blame you, but don't be skeptical, not check it, and then just be a nasty guy. We worked our butt off here to figure out what's going on because for sure it's hurting the game and hurting a lot of players. So hopefully you will take the time to give this topic the attention it deserves. Am I 100% right in what I'm about to tell you? Maybe, probably not. Am I 100% accurate in the general situation? There's without a shadow of a doubt in my mind, honestly. So please give this a touch of attention. We have taken data from hundreds of accounts, trying to understand why some people were getting this perceived benefit that clearly I was, that Fred was, that Romarine was, that literally dozens and dozens of people that submitted data were getting, and some people were not. In my last video, I presented this as an unknown secret timed pity benefiting everyone. And I was so ignorant for that. I saw that it was benefiting the people that sent it to me and then immediately confirmed I was benefiting from it and assumed everyone got that. Very quickly, this was clearly not the case. Some people were having these patterns, some people weren't. What is going on here? I was showing that for me, after a certain period off, 6 days plus, 12 out of 13 times, I was guaranteed a legendary on my first one. So I thought, oh, if you take this time off, for me at least, that's how I presented it. I wasn't saying go try this. Actually, the title of the video was do not try this yet. But a lot of people don't like to read and then love to yell in the comments. I wasn't saying try it, but I was saying here is the proof of case. Here is hard, indisputable 1 in a billion evidence. With Fred, we had literally 1 in 10 quadrillion. It is not a coincidence. It was revealing something within the code. Clearly, it was not an exploit because people didn't know about it. With Fred, maybe, but in general, it was unknown. It was just there. I figured it had to be a feature. How could coding be that bad? It couldn't be a bug because it's so bad and in your face. I am now convinced whether it's intentional or not, it is a mechanic, whether a bug mechanic or an intentional evil mechanic, it is super unfair and it is super twisted. Because that perceived blessing I was describing, that pity that people would benefit from, actually for many is a curse. Quickly, I do want to say we have a lot of people, a lot of players, a lot of viewers hypothesizing the lucky situation comes from being privileged, like being a CC. We have so many examples. We only have 2 examples of CCs, me and Dan Heilman. And then we have so many examples of players, dozens of examples of normal, everyday viewer players. And then other people are saying maybe it has to do with spending. Maybe you have to be free to play or you have to be a big spender. We have everything covered from 100% pure free to play content creator with diamonds, to low spender, to former Kraken, to current Kraken. We've seen this manifest in all kinds of situations. It seems purely random, like at the inception or early on in an account, you're assigned this predetermined RNG with this seed number list. And then some people totally benefit, and then some people totally get screwed. So what's going on? I'm going to get deep into math in this video, but I'm going to try to keep it casual. Let me give you the TLDR right now. Essentially, what I believe is happening at the generation of your account, you are assigned a random generated list of numbers. Technically, it is a function in a code, something like this, but that's very hard to explain for me, and I think it's very hard to visualize. So we're going to think of it as a list. And those numbers are what I'm going to call your seed numbers. Now, what do I mean? When an instance of RNG happens in most video games, the way they do their probabilistic seeding, the way they do RNG is they say in 1,000 instances, how often is this supposed to happen? So if we go to our legendary divine summoning, if there's no 2x, right? If we're discussing the typical 15x or no rate up, there's a 6% chance. 6% of 1,000 is 60. So the way RNG should work is randomly in an instantaneous moment of time, a brand new out of the blue number is generated, right? Between 1 and 1,000. If it is 60 or under, and there's a 6% chance, as we're going to be discussing in this whole video, then that would trigger success. And success here means you hit, you get a legendary. If it is 61 through 1,000, it triggers failure. You don't get anything. Why am I getting so in the weeds? Well, because Those numbers are not spontaneously out of the blue, instantaneously, boom, purely randomly generated. I believe at the inception of your account, with different aspects of the game, a list of RNG seed numbers are assigned to specific things for you in the game. So as we have discovered with divine summoning, when it comes to the 15x, the no rate up, and the 2x plus 15x, there is one list of seed numbers. You get that on your account, and that is staying with you week after week after week. Very likely that list of numbers is hundreds, if not thousands long. However, as we have demonstrated, there is a reset period. Whether it's 5 or 6 days or it is every week, they reset that list. So instead of picking up on the number you left off on, you go back to the top. I really hope you made it with me. It's only going to get more complicated. But basically, if you're like me and you have a good top number, meaning between 1 and 60, every time you go back to that instance to demand RNG, you're not getting RNG. I am getting my signature predetermined RNG. And I know every time my number must be between 1 and 60 because that first instance, every time that first number on my list is triggering success. I'm getting a legendary hero. We had a lot of people come forward saying, hey, you mentioned the patterns in your video. It wasn't happening first for me, but it always happens second, or it always happens third. It always happens fifth. It always happens ninth. We've literally had dozens and dozens of people come with unique patterns. And that is what I believe is going on. You get a list of numbers, and your number list could look like mine, where it's like 40, and then 80, and then 900, and then 600. I'm saying those numbers because it's number under 60, then over 60, over 60, over 60, because I'm always hitting and then missing after, right? Or you could be someone where it's like high number, but second number is 30. So the second time you're always hitting legendaries. We have seen so many examples of that. In this video, I am going to highlight not just my own data, which just happens to be coincidentally the cleanest data there is. Because I summon infrequently, because I hoard, because I do it consistently on big banners for content, my data is so reliable and clean, and I'm definitely blessed to have those lucky numbers, as you will see in this video. Something some of you may have already realized, or something that may be lost on some of you and maybe continue to be lost on some of you, is how crazy this whole coincidence is. So Fred came to me with a very specific method that actually was just his little ritual that he did and worked. But what actually was working was the predetermined seed number list he had the whole time. He came to me as a content creator he views to share it with me. I tested it out and it worked. That's the only reason I made the video. That's the only reason I got feedback and people helped me figure out the bigger problem, this, that, and the other. And it has evolved so much in a few days. And we've done so much research and aggregated so much data. But it required Fred sending it to me and me happening to have the same really lucky and clearly defined seed number lists that repeated over and over and started with a sub 60 number, started with a number that would give me success in exactly the situation he had outlined. It actually is mind-blowing. I hope you guys see that. We have other accounts like this that take it to a whole new level. Here we have the data from Fake Frick. Before you go saying this is fake or all the data on my Discord, which you guys should go check out, it is endless and endless screenshots of summoning records. All data put into a sheet is supported and corroborated by screen grabs of the summoning record screen. But you can see when he hit my criteria, which was 6 or more days without doing divine summons, returning to summoning and returning on any banner except for the 2x crazy banner. So not that one, anything else. So the special 15x, the no rate up, it just says divine, or any of the ones with the weird names like Frostborn, Eclipse, all those are always 2x plus 15x. Every single time he did that, he went miss, 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 hit, miss, hit. He hit on his 4th, his 5th, and his 6th, guaranteeing him 3 out of 6 time and time and time again. Here you go yet again. 256 days, he only did 3. It wasn't enough. Then 186 days ago, he did it. 3 misses, hit, miss, hit. We go on. It's the same session. We've got a new session. Miss, 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 hit, miss, hit. This stuff goes on and on. There's a couple red things we're going to talk about. Something happened 80 to 95 days ago. Consistently, we are finding on the 2 banners in that period, consistent anomalies in our data. But aside from that, everyone with the pattern, everyone with their own unique pattern is hitting in the exact same expected way every time. I have a lot more proof. I have a lot more math to walk you through, but that is the short version. I know it didn't end up being that short because this stuff is so complicated. I know a lot of people are not thrilled with me right now, but I promise a great thing was born out of this. we found some patently, disgustingly rigged predetermined RNG. This is not good news. So quickly, before I move on to the big specifics, because I know I'm about to lose a bunch of you, you may be asking, well, if this is how the numbers work, why does it not work for me? Why don't I see a pattern? Most people only pull 5 or 10 times, if that many, when they do divines, right? I think this chart over here may help a lot of people understand. All right, so this was created by Toto Mac, which he shared with me so I can help explain it to you guys. And it shows 3 hypothetical people that were assigned different predetermined RNG. So likely at the initial inception of their account, they were assigned a list such as these. So we're going to use these 3 made up examples. I will say A is based off of me, just to illustrate everything better as we go into breaking down my summons. But you'll see that over here. Then we got B, we got C, all different numbers. And you can see how, if this is real, which we think it is, at least to a very large extent, we don't know everything, but we do think we at least know the general thing pretty darn well. This is how it manifests. So if these were your numbers, if you were player A, you can see here, 52 less than 60, you get a legendary. Over 60, over 60, over 60, you miss on those next 4. Your 5th one, though, at 96, why is that blue? Well, because on a 15x, it's a miss, but a 2x by 15x, it hits. That's a very interesting number, and you'll see that has happened to me because my 5th summon on every 2x by 15x hits as a legendary, but on normal 15x's is always a miss. So that tells us the check number for a 2x, right? A 2x by 15x is inherently a 2x. The check number there is not 60, but 120. That is 12% of 1,000. So that number is not hitting with the 60, so it must be over 60, but it is hitting with the 2x by 15x, so it must be under 120. So you can see that, and then again at 12, that number is really low, way under 60, that's another hit, so on and so on. 95 again, another good example. We'll only hit on the 2x by 15x, not the traditional 15x. Here's another really common thing we've seen where people are always hitting on the 3rd one. So 2 high numbers, they always see miss after their list resets, and then they always hit on the 3rd. Another nice example here is this 93, right? That's pretty darn interesting. You're going to hit on that for the 2x by 15x. But another wrinkle we included, if you don't hit there, if it's a normal 15x, that is a miss. You pulled that 3, so that by the time you're at 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, you're building pity on each of them. So when you get to 148, actually, with the way the old pity worked or the new pity, your number at 148 is now lower than what the number check would be as the pity was rising because you passed 12 summons since your last legendary. So that's assuming it wasn't a 2x by 15x, so you did not hit on that 10th summon. Finally, more unlucky, and this shows why some people are not seeing a pattern. This person over here starts with a bunch of high numbers. So the only way they could see a consistent pattern is if consistently in the right criteria, right, 6 or more days off, returning to your divine summonings with a 15x, a 2x plus 15x, or no rate up at all. You need to consistently be doing that and doing at least 9 summons to see it happen over and over. So you won't see a pattern manifest unless you're a crazy summoner every week or all the time doing a lot of things when you decide to summon the same way player A or player B would, right? Because they only need to do the 1 summon for player A or the 3 summons for player B when they go to do their summoning sessions to quickly see over time, over 100 summons, over a year's worth of summoning, like with me, a pattern presents itself. If you've got the bad numbers over here, you're not seeing that pattern. And actually, you can see if this player consistently is just summoning 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 divines, they're going to get screwed because they keep missing out on that 9th that would have hit. And then little did they know, if they always were doing 15, they would see the pattern that they could always hit on 9 and 14. But typically, these guys probably are only doing 3, 4, 5, so they never get that. Whenever it resets, it goes back to the top number. It does not pick up where it left off, which is what I think it should do. That would be fairly easy coding, I think. But instead, yes, it goes back to the top, so all that progress is lost, and all that they're doing is building traditional pity, but this time-based pity given by the predetermined RNG list of these seed numbers is lost. So this person, even though theoretically 2 in every 14 would be great, is getting punished over and over because very likely most people with these numbers, even though you don't know the numbers, would stop around here and you keep missing and missing. And that is a terrible thing. So unless you have those low numbers, you're not going to see those patterns manifest over and over. If your numbers suck, which unfortunately seems to be the case for some players, and some players are just tremendously cursed with horrible numbers. If you're over 60 on those seed numbers for your first 15, and only on the 16th one are you under, you're only hitting on the 16th. So every time you're going into this cursed, doomed already, that unless a bunch of traditional pity was previously built on an old banner, you're not going to pull anything till 16 because this stuff cycles and cycles and cycles. Again, it is not consistent with crazy. We're talking only going from non-crazy banner to non-crazy banner, but time and time again, that is proven. So you can already start seeing how effed up this is. If someone is cursed with crazy high numbers, even above pity numbers, right? Because the 60 check is only up until you hit the soft pity. Then previously, when it would increase by 2%, now it increases by 5%, the next number to check would be 80 or lower, right? So then that'd be your 13th summon. It goes up 2% from 6% to 8%. This is how it used to be for all the data we have, basically. Then from that 13th to 14th summon, it would go up 2% from 8% to 10%. So now we'd be looking at a 100 or less number check. I hope you're understanding what I'm saying. If someone had all their numbers really high, and then even after the soft pity, their numbers were 800, 430, 520, they would just be screwed and screwed. And theoretically, if you had the bad luck, you might not have a number that is ever destined to hit until 26 or 28. And then in 100 summons, on average, you're getting 4 legendaries while other people are getting 20. And to me, that is the tragedy here. The expected value, if you're splitting your summons on your divines between special and crazy, between 15x and 2x, assuming that there actually was pure RNG, which there is not, that means you'd expect between 9 and 10 legendaries per 100 summons, right? You're oscillating between a 6% chance on the non-2x and a 12% chance on the 2x. That's not the case, right? So some people are benefiting unknowingly. I didn't know Fred until 10 days ago now. I had 16 out of 100. So I'm like 6 legendaries over. That is great. And I'm blessed for that, right? Unknowingly getting that. But what's disturbing, what's way worse than overgetting, than overpopulating your account with nice things, is constantly being under rewarded. So the people that keep getting 4 or 5 every 100, yeah, sure, it's nice for me to get awakenings, but for those people, they're not even getting the heroes to fill their roster to begin with. They are cursed. And that is the scary thing here. As you can tell, there's clearly no time for an intro. Let's get into it. These are my summons. I charted all of them. There's some interesting colors. Let me take you through it and explain exactly how I believe all of this is working. You can see they only show you your last 100 summons. So we have exactly 100 summons here. It goes all the way up to my most recent Twyla pull you guys saw over the weekend. You can see over here, my first pull 368 days ago, just over a year ago, was Nasandai. Then we had a 7-day break. From what I can tell from my summons, we still need to figure out the exact reset. If it's a weekly reset, a like weekend into the start of the week, or if it has to be a full 6 or 7 days. Here we can see on my account, it is always a minimum of 6 days. You can see here, 7 days later, I return, and I must have a number here that's getting called upon. Let's call it 55. So they're saying, all right, let's randomly generate a number. No, we don't have to do that. Remember, we pre-assigned these RNG seed number lists to all these accounts. So let's just grab that first number. We reset Fastidious' list every week. So they go and they grab mine. They say 55. Then they put in the input and they do kind of an inequality, a question. Is this number 60 or less? And if it is 60 or less, it triggers success. 55 is less than 60. It triggers success. Success means hit. Hit means I get a legendary hero. My apologies, guys. I just realized I had the days ago for Dolores and Lunaria incorrectly input. Let me prove that to you right now. 368 days ago, you can see Nasandai. And then 361, 61, 61 was Constance, Dolores, Lunaria. So let's go back here. Let's do the same thing. And let me just make up numbers. So these are misses, right? So they must be over 60. However, I know they must be over 120. And that was the big break in the case. So let me take this moment to send a huge thank you to Toto Mac, who went over all this seed theory with me and really opened my eyes to what was going on. Also, huge thank you to Lil and Savvy Run, who have been helping me moderate the enormous discussion on my Discord. Let me show you guys that right now. If you want to see all the data, go to the Fast and Fastidious, my Discord, and go to this channel, Pity Timer Research. This thing goes on forever. We have thousands and thousands of pictures here if you want anything corroborated. Otherwise, just wait till I post another thing. All right? So we know this has to be over 120. Some of you might be able to figure that out in your head, but you'll see why. I'll explain why later. So let's say this number is, let's call it 350, okay? And then we know it's a miss again. Let's call this number 280, right? Now it is over the 6 or 7 days. You can see we're going to go here 28 days later, amazing movie, and I hit again because they don't pick new numbers. They're calling back on this list right here. They say we already have that randomly generated assigned list from the inception of the account. That's what I think is most likely for Fastidious. Let's run those numbers again. They say 55, less than 60, success, hit, give them a legendary. And they say 350, that's over, that's a miss. 280, that's over, that's a miss. Let's go for 900 here, that's a miss. And now we have what I'm talking about with this 120 thing. So what is going on? You can see here with Aurum, I hit. That's pretty interesting. That number must be under 60. No, and I can prove it to you, right? Look over here at this. This says prayers. Over here, this says springtime. This says frostborn. Even here, it says eclipse. Any of these banners with weird names are 2x plus 15x. So actually, the check number, the check probability is 12%, not 6%. So the check number is 120. So they're asking, is your number 120 or less, not 60 or less, because we have the double rate up on the actual chance to get the legendary. So how do I know that this isn't just 54 or this isn't just 3, right? How do I know it's over 60 but under 120, as I'm about to show you? Well, if we look over here, this is an instance of just a 15x, not a 2x by 15x. So we look over here with Artemis or with Constance, and you can see I always miss on my 5th summon when it's not a 2x. So if it's not a 2x and I miss, but if it is a 2x and I hit, and you're going to see it happens every time it could happen on the 2x plus 15x. Cratch and Kriya as well. We'll get into that very shortly. This number has to be between 61 and 120. It's a guarantee, it must. So we'll call this number 88. So these are my first 5 numbers, and these are the numbers we know to be true. So let's go back here. We go over here. This is a crazy. Don't get confused. That doesn't count. Crazy banners must have a different seed list, or it's some other line of thinking. I don't know, but it clearly is unrelated. We have endless proof to show this. But we go over here. We finished that prayers. We have a bunch of crazy. Now there's over here 6 days. This is why I think 6 days is possible. We go from Comet to Hex, and I hit. It's a new thing. They reset my list back to the top, back to 55. That's less than 60. Give Fastidious a legendary. Hex. I know this is probably pissing some of you guys off. Why am I getting this benefit? A bunch of people are saying they marked my account as special because I'm a content creator. This is not all these accounts are content creator accounts. I've actually only accounted for 2 content creator accounts that have this kind of luck. It is me and Dan Heilman. There are so many players with crazy luck, such as this one over here, where 3 of the first 6 summons every time and time again are hitting for this normal non-content creator player. So let's continue. We do some crazy summons over here. Now we return 6 days after these crazy summons to this banner. We get Constance, and when you know it, they're running my 55, and we do it. Let's input these numbers, though. Let's actually copy all 5 of these numbers, paste them right here, make this wider just so you guys can see. 55 is less than 60. Hit, give Fastidious a legendary. Over 60 miss, over 60 miss, over 60 miss. Here's that 88 that worked for Aurum on the 2x plus 15x, but now not working over here where we get the Idril because it's just a 15x. So they're not checking against 120, they're checking at 60. That is a miss. Same thing happens again. 55 hits for Artemis. Let me actually double check that. Yeah, 19 days later. So for Artemis, you can see 19 days later, it's fresh enough. They reset it back to the top of the list. There's the 55. And guys, I don't know if it's 55, but it's between 1 and 60, assuming that's how they do their seeding, which is very likely. It's most common in video games. Boom, it's less, success, legendary. But then again, the 5th one, this is not a 2x by 15x. We miss on Scorch. But when you know it happens again, 2x plus 15x. And again, I'm getting it, repeating myself, but it's important because this is what proved it to me. This is what Toto Mac told me that proved it to me. Less than 60 we hit, miss, miss, miss. But then here's that number. It doesn't hit if it's not a 2x by 15x, but if it is, it hits, which means it's between 60 and 120. So it's 88 or it's 95 or it's 119 or it's 61, whatever it is, it happened yet again. Rinse and repeat. We do a single pull here on Constance with 41 days since our previous pulling. It's a special banner. We hit. That's your 55. And then our final example, you can see yet again on one of those 2x by 15x's. We hit on the 1st, and yet again, I hit on the 5th. So I'm going to take a little moment to speak directly to a couple of you at this point in the video. If you did not make it to this point in the video, if you did not give me the time to actually hear it through and make what I think was a pretty definitive and convincing argument that at the very least, something not good is happening and we have a pretty good handle on it, let's sort it out, let's fix it. If you didn't do that, but you're going to get in the comments and go nuts, have a big old look in the mirror. Do that for me. Seriously, what could possess you to feel that you deserve to pass your judgment about something you have no fucking clue about? Think about it. Let's continue. More and more stuff. We can go. I did so much on the Frostborn. It was the most summons I ever did. Then we took a big time off after the Frostborn. You can see 27 days over here. Glacius, of course it hits. And then here's the weird thing. Titus, 88 days ago. You can see over here for this viewer, 85 days ago. That's where we got this red. It hit on 3 and 4 for him, his 3rd and 4th summon, not his 4th and 5th, like it always happens for him. Literally every single other time possible. We have found over a dozen examples of everything checking out to line up with our theory right now, which, by the way, is just a theory. We're not saying to try anything. Please don't. But this theory, the only consistent anomalies we are seeing is in this range of days between 80 days and like 95 days ago. It happened for me. It happened here. It happened on at least 1 or 2 dozen other accounts we've gone deep on. All right. You can see this is the one outlier. It should have drawn 55. It didn't. So we don't know what happened there. Interesting thing. This was in August, and that's when the game had the crazy delay update, kind of big controversies. Who knows what was going on? You can see though, then we go here. I should have highlighted this. That's a huge mistake. I'm sorry. Valeria, I hit. So maybe actually it's 17. Must be 17. That's my mistake, guys. You can see that here. Then Scorch, nothing. So it's like 55, 350 or 50, or it's 1 and 999. It doesn't matter. It's a hit and a miss. And then these two single pulls, right? The 2x by 15x for Aurum. That's a 55. That's the number we're using. It hits. And then the infamous Twyla pull obviously was a hit. So there you go. Besides this Twyla pull, I knew of none of this potential exploit or bug or manipulation or anything. All of this was unintentional. And that's why I thought they intended it for everyone. But as we've seen through a lot of data, some people did not get these blessed numbers like this and have been screwed time and time again. And certainly a lot of people have not gotten crazy stuff like this, where very likely his series of numbers is like 500, 800, 400. And then you can see it doesn't matter about the 2x by 15x or the normal one. This is just crazy stuff. Special Divine, he does it. Frostborn, he does it. He's probably looking at like 30, 50, 10 for his 4th, 5th, and 7th summon. I don't know why he wrote 6th here. That's a mistake. But on his 4th, his 5th, then he misses. And then on his 7th, he's hitting time and time again besides the anomaly period. There you go, guys. It is, I believe, truly remarkable. We're going to do testing this weekend, assuming they don't patch it. We're going to find out, prove this once and for all. If you have any theories or if you have data you want to share now that you have a better understanding, please do let me know. I'm not saying to try anything, but I am telling you we've really uncovered something. This happened in a sloppy way because of my mismanagement and misrelease of my videos. But undeniably, like I said, whether you like me or not, we have proven something here that's not good. And like I said, I don't think it's sinister. And no longer do I think it's intentional in the way that they want to help players. I just think it's probably some of the laziest code ever put in the video game. I don't want to be too critical, but I believe that's a fact. So there you go, guys. It's a slight long video, but you saw there's a lot of math to show. The final thing I want to say, yet again, before you continue to be an asshole, if you're that special person, why don't you take the time to watch the whole video, of course, but then just review the endless, it can't even load. This goes on forever. It goes on and on and on over here, guys. So if you are dubious of anything, go over here. We have so much stuff pinned as well that we think is valuable. You can come to my Discord, the Fast and Fastidious, and check for yourself before you get judgmental or honestly get offended that you don't understand. And instead of making the effort to understand, you just be a nasty, nasty person. So don't do that. Be good. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys watching, especially if you took the time to really take this in. It is very complicated. It gives me a headache explaining. I'm sorry the video is long. It's just a lot to explain, especially when I'm trying to explain it in a simple manner. Final thank you again to Toto Mac, Savvy Run, and Lil. And then also one for Glern, who helped me with my final review of the math and making sure I clearly presented these topics. I really hope y'all understand and you also see the potential gravity of this. This is not a good thing. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Let me know any questions you have in the comments and share with your mother. I think your mother will appreciate this one. I'm proud of the math. I think I did a good job. Bye.
Fastidious.